Resident Evil, aka Resident Evil Village. So Resident Evil Village is a direct continuation from Resident Evil Biohazard. In this game, you will play as Ethan Winters, the same protagonist you played in Resident Evil 7. So, the story was promised to be the end of Ethan Winters. So, let's see. So, the generic plot is that Ethan Winters loses his daughter. So, he has to find her in this village in Romania. Right? Now, let's talk first about the village. The village definitely reminds you a lot from Resident Evil 4, right? With Leon Scott Kennedy. I see it because Capcom wanted to repeat the success of Resident Evil 4, and clearly they did it well. You know, with Resident Evil 4, and then they repeat again with some kind of same scenario with the brand new game Resident Evil 8. Now, let's talk about the village atmosphere. Well, you know, when you walk around the village, you can see clearly there are some parts of Resident Evil 4 to remind you of Resident Evil 4. In this game, you will face 4 bosses, which I don't want to spoil because this is not a spoiler review. In the game, you will enter castle, you know, like a lot from Resident Evil 4. Different enemies. And what I love about this game is there are so many boss fights. Through Ethan's journey, you will encounter some bosses and mini bosses. So they are entertaining as well, but unfortunately for me, they felt too easy for me, you know. But depends on your level. Now, let's talk about the enemies. There are a lot of enemies, lots of types, depend on where you are. If you're in the castle, you will face a zombie with a sword. But if you are in the village, you will face werewolves. And if you're in the factory, you will face werewolves and undead robots, because it is a factory after all. So, besides you play as Ethan, at some point you will encounter Chris Redfield, a character from Resident Evil 7 as well. So, I see this thing because, you know, it seems Capcom want to continue this franchise based on Chris, you know, for the games at least. Because they wanted to center this game around Ethan and Chris. You will get to play Chris Redfield later in the game. And that was fun for me. You know, just playing guns blazing throughout the entire village. That was fun. He did save Ethan one time in the game, so that gives him some purpose. I think Chris Redfield is not useless in this game. He gets some parts, of course. But the game has a lot of bosses. And for me, the bosses are not as challenging as it should. You know, the scariest thing for me was when I encountered Baby. It is gloomy, big, and then make annoying noises, and it was really disturbing. Then one part scared me a lot, but other than that, I think the zombies, the werewolves are pretty fine. They're not too hard to defeat. Depends on where you are, depends on the location. The thing is, the merchant is back in this game. And that is a good thing. The merchant is known as Duke in this game, Resident Evil 8. And I think that's a good thing. He will appear when you need him. He will help you upgrade your weapons, customize your weapons, or buy and sell the weapons. Depends on you, But you did get some relationship for Ethan and Duke. I think this is a proper sequel. The fact that they really wanted to repeat the success of Resident Evil 4 really takes it to another level. The details, the graphics, they are great. And my only complaint with this game is that just not too scary. Like I mentioned before, the scariest part for me was when I encountered the Bucky. But other than that, the game is not scary. It's not too scary as it should. That is my only complaint with this video game, with this new installment of Resident Evil franchise. Capcom, please make some more Resident Evils. I love the atmosphere of the village, especially when you're in the castle. The castle just feels like a little bit scary because Lady D, Dimitrescu, will also chase you around the castle. That was pretty intense for me. So, I think this game deserves a score, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for Resident Evil Village, aka Resident Evil 8. And that's for my review for Resident Evil 8. If you're more fast enough, more reviews, you know what to do. And what you think about Resident Evil 8, guys? Is it good or is it bad? Depends on you. Comment down below, so let me know, and see you on the next